Good evening and welcome to the Core Racing Series. Tonight is race number 4 of the Core Racing Series. We are over at Michigan tonight, and we are racing the Xfinity cars. Let's go ahead and get over to the information and format, and then we got some stuff we got to touch on. So, information for tonight's series is hosts are Carl Handwerk and Eric Andrews. Sponsors are Joka Graphics, Southern Heart Creations, and Elkhart Racing Supply. Broadcasting is done by Death by Moose Media. Commentators in the booth, we have Randall Alvarez and Michael Campbell. Going into
Good evening, sir.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to roll over you there. Michael, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm sorry. I didn't know if that was my cue or not. I'm very excited.
As I can tell. Yeah, I was going to roll into the next section before I introduced you, but just because we're a little bit on time crunch, but that's fine. While we jump over, let's go ahead and talk about the format. So once again, we're back at Michigan, Michael, which we were just at. We are now see the Xfinity Series. What do you think?
I mean, the racing we saw during the ISRC series race will be very similar to what we see here, but of course at a slower speed. These cars are a little slower, but not by much. You're still going to pick up about $190 going down the front stretch, if not close to 200 if you're going down the back stretch in the draft, if things go your way. So I think when you're racing around here, this very fast oval here in Brooklyn, Michigan, you're going to see all sorts of aggressive moves. And you see people moving around, even in the banking, changing lanes, but especially down the straightaways, switching lanes on this 2-mile oval to try and get themselves in the right position to be where they need to be at the end.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now let's talk about the qualifying is only going to be 1 lap, so we're going to be real fast with that. Feature is going to be 75 laps, though, and a comp caution at lap 30, and we have a couple surprises coming up for that. Let's go ahead and talk to both Carl Andrews, Carl Handwerk and Eric Andrews, who are on the booth with us.
Dragon Ball C fusion of them?
That is exactly what happened.
Got it.
They definitely fused on that one. Carl, Eric?
Yes.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
You guys are up.
Oh, hey. How's it going? No, the main things I wanted to touch on is just kind of thanking Vision Marketing for the sponsorship, thanking Southern Heart Creations for the sponsorship, and not only the sponsorship, but they're also going to be giving a gift out to at least one lucky fan, possibly 2, depending on how everything kind of situates itself. And Core is also going to be kind of doubling that with a gift as well. So make sure you pay attention to the broadcast and hear what the the special phrase or word is, whatever they're going to call out, and then just go ahead and send an email to myself, which is carl@coreracingleague.com, and I'm sure the guys will put that in the little text here so you can see. But yeah, just looking forward to a good race here, and I'll kick it over to Eric.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting today. Really excited about this. I'm glad to sponsor this with Vision, and I know Moose is going to put up a link to go to it if you're interested in taking a look. But it should be a fun race for the fans. Lots of multiple lines. Going to be a lot of tire wear, and it's going to be fun.
That is correct. We'll see how this race plays out for everyone. Go ahead and get back to qualifying, guys. Thanks for popping in here, and we'll see you guys hopefully in the podium.
Alrighty, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
man. Good luck up there.
Later. All right, while these guys get to qualifying, we're going to do a quick lap around the track with Carl Handwerk just to explain some of the lines you guys are going to see out there. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back, Core Race fans. This is Carl Handwerk with another lap around the track. This week we are going to be at the Michigan International Speedway with the Xfinity Series cars, as this is the Vision 150 presented by Southern Heart Creations. So I want to thank Vision Marketing and also Southern Heart Creations for sponsoring this event. Southern Heart Creations is also putting up some giveaways for both the drivers and the fans. So make sure you pay attention to the broadcast and see how you can kind of get on that action. Michigan is a 2-mile track, and it's really wide. As you can see, it's one of the widest tracks to go to. It's almost going to drive like a super speedway, but with the limited banking that you see through the turns, it's going to involve maybe a little bit of brake dragging and letting off the throttle a little bit, but you will see possibly 3, 4, or even 5 wide racing. I mean, it's as you can see, it's really wide. Ultimately, I think there's really going to be 3 different lines. There's going to be the extreme low line, which could be fast, but you're going to burn tires. the line that I'm running right here, which is kind of the middle line, and then the top line where you're gonna probably save the most tires, but you're gonna really kill some speed. But should be some great racing action tonight.
Welcome back. We are back from that. That was Carl Handwerk once again going over the track and just kind of showing you guys what to expect out there from the drivers. That is from the viewpoint of one person on the track with multiple people out there. It is going to get a little hairy as we saw before. So stay with us and we'll be showing you guys what is up. Let's look at the timings. Michael, you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, Carl Handwerk sitting at the top of the leaderboard, at least right now, 39.764, about 600ths of a second ahead of second and third place. That's a statistical tie right there, now broken slightly by Paul Owens, 0.066 behind. The field's so close to each other right now. The front four all separated by 0.08 right now. So very close field. Going a little further back, fifth place, Christopher Hamilton. He's running back there. That is about 2/10 off the pace there, and then 3/10 back to Gregory Thompson and Kevin Foster. So here at a track like that, your single car runs, of course, if you're not getting into the corner the way you want to, getting the car wound up, you're going to see these times have a big disparity in them. I don't think that's necessarily going to translate to the race. I think these cars are going to be pretty much on top of each other. As long as these drivers know how to drive these Xfinity cars, which can be a little more tricky to navigate around here. These cars are a little more stable, which lends itself to be a little more tighter or have some understeer. So that can definitely affect the way these cars are going to drive during the green flag run.
Yeah, that's definitely going to cause some differences out there. Looking at the lineup, looks like we have some new people out on the track. Want to talk about quickly Vision Marketing. That is, Eric Andrew clipping out. Looks like everyone's finishing up their qualifying. So we'll let that finish up. Some people out on the track that we want to definitely keep an eye on that have had practice is Carl Handwerk and Kevin Foster and Paul Owens, all racing in the Cup cars. So these guys definitely are up there and they're ready to put on a good show. So let's see if the extra practice is going to help them out.
I mean, practice is key here. Information is everything. Really getting any opportunity to get on the track during the track conditions, exactly what you're going to be running, is very helpful. And being able to maybe run a race before, get your legs wet, especially when you've run at the same exact track, maybe different vehicle like we saw with the ISRC. Some of those guys who ran that race are now here running the core race, different time of day, different vehicle, but largely the information does translate. So you're seeing here Carl Handwerk sitting P3 on the scoring chart right now, and Paul Owens running P3, Carl Handwerk P1. Definitely going to be good to see these guys, see if they can translate what they did in the Cup cars over here to the Xfinity rides.
Yeah, and I think we're probably going to see similarity. I think the Xfinity are going to be a little bit tighter than these guys expected from the Cup cars. I think the Cup cars were probably driving a little looser than what we saw with the Xfinity. So we'll see how it turns out for them.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about the aero on these cars. I feel like these cars particularly the Xfinity ones, while they cut through the air well, they're still, again, I just feel like they're a little heavier when trying to move through the field here. It's a little harder to get them to do what you want, but some of the drivers who did well in the Cup race now bringing that knowledge over here to the Xfinity race, and it looks like we're going to see some fast guys toward the front because the top five are only separated by 0.08. That is a quick field right there.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a close one to call. But I'm actually excited to see if we see a difference in the pacing for tonight's track, in the sense of, the last race we saw a lot of people being very aggressive out in the field and going door to door with each other. Will we see that carry over, or will we see a more of a calm track out in the field?
Well, I think we're running at two different beasts here. Last week was Myrtle Beach, where you have that Saturday night short track racing, door banging.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Michigan to Michigan. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you were referring to only within core. I mean, when you're talking about transitioning from car to car, it really depends on the driver themselves. If they feel like they can swing this car around as aggressively as they do the Cup car, that's fine. But I also feel like these cars, again, just can have a tendency to be a little bit on the understeer side, especially if you get onto that second groove of the progressive banking, because the banking on the lower side of the track is slightly different than what's up above in the upper lane. So you get the car kind of stuck on that transition, it can cause a tight condition or understeer and cause the car to drift up, and that when you have to do that, you are sliding up the track and losing some track position and time.
Hey, Randall, this is Carl. I just want to check in what the dice roll was, so we know how many send that are back.
Dice rolls 3.
And 4.
So for those at home, if you want to maybe touch on kind of what does that mean for these guys getting out here? Because again, we're seeing a very close top 5 here, but it sounds like some of those guys who qualified toward the front might have to do some work and go to the back for a little bit.
Yeah, so what that means is the top 3 guys are going to get moved back. They're going to have to rotate. So this is a little bit of an impromptu invert. And lo and behold, that's going to happen again. But I am not allowed to disclose the numbers and what's going to happen. It's rolled prior to us calling it. But it's a little bit of a mix-up. Eric Andrews loves to throw in those curveballs, so we'll see how it plays out for everyone and how everyone manages the situation.
Well, definitely a curveball for those front 3 who are going to be affected by this. I think you mentioned you said 3 there, so it looks like that's going to affect our pole sitter at the time, Carl Handwerk, Kenny Hollerman, and Paul Owens. Those guys were all within 0.06 of a second of each other, and then they go from the front of this field to the back. So that changes your mindset of how you're going to approach the race. So now it's about kind of adjusting your posture, knowing you're not going to get to front, keeping your car clean, and getting back to where you qualified.
Yeah, it's all about how you drive out there and what's going to get you back up there. But those top 3 guys, they ran the fastest lap, so they definitely, they have the best chance to work their way up.
Absolutely. And I think what that means is that's going to cycle the field around, and ironically, Eric Andrews will now be scored as, I guess, the person bringing the field to the green flag, according to scoring, because he was P4 in qualifying, and Nick Nickerson, Christopher Hamilton, Gregory Thompson, and Kevin Foster rounding out your now revised top 5 as we are to go green here at Michigan International Speedway. 75 laps of Xfinity car racing action here in the virtual Motor City. Pace car to the inside, getting ready to go green here. Again, the field under the control of Eric Andrews. 75 laps of core racing action on Death by Moose Media underway. It seems like we're having some issues because it seems like everyone's going a little slower than usual.
As they enter the first turn at 200 miles an hour, all of them are really holding their lines. Look at them go.
We're going to have to...
I think right now what they're doing is they're doing a one-lap pace just because they did do the cycle. They did do the EOLs and pass everyone past. They still haven't gone 3 wide, too. So most likely...
Oh, they did. They actually did.
I apologize. I was managing other stuff in the background, and I missed it.
You're good.
For everyone out there that they go 3 wide, as a salute to all the fans, and pretty much a giant thank you to everyone out. And it looks like Eric getting into position, and we should be going green with this lap. So he's on call.
So again, we'll see Eric Andrews bringing the field to the green flag. Nick Nickerson, Christopher Hamilton, Gregory Thompson, and Kevin Foster, your top 5, as no pace car here, so everyone's being respectful and minding pace speed as we'll get ready for the restart here. I guess you'll call it the official start of this race here on lap approaching 2 of what will be 75 laps here at Michigan International Speedway. Essentially identical to its sister track in Fontana, California, Auto Club Speedway. It'll be great to see some fast speeds here on these Xfinity cars. Probably gonna get a $195. Might even get lucky to get close to 200 in the draft. Get ready to go green here, approaching the Geico restart zone. The field under the control of Eric Andrews, and he'll bring everyone to the green flag. They'll be doing that for about 70 times around here this evening. 2 by 2 behind him. A slight breakaway for Eric Andrews in the 9. Well, side by side here, we see the cars trying to get themselves in position, figure out where they want to place their car. But I feel like with the Xfinity car, the premium side is going to be that higher line, getting right next to that wall. As we see, the 15 just brush it ever so slightly, no damage to the car at all, but a bit of a reaction out of the 8 there, seeing a car get near the wall. About a 2-car breakaway there at the front. That is the 9 and the 85 of Nick Nickerson. They are trying to pull away from this group here at the 08 and the 15 battle coming off turn 4.
Yeah, and you can see Eric Andrews holding his front line. One of the solid drivers in this league. He's had his second official win last race, and that was not last race. That was Jonathan Platt. Sorry to take that away from you, Platt. That was my bad.
2 races ago.
Sorry, 2 races ago was Eric Andrews with his second official race, and proving to everyone out there that he has what it takes to run on the front pack. He's had a rough run for all 3 seasons, and now he's coming back with vengeance. He's done a good job this past couple races. So
yeah, absolutely. Eric Andrews is coming in here with a win to his belt, as you mentioned, over at Kansas, and 3 top 10s. So he's getting up there. He's staying with the leaders. He's about 33 points behind the points leader, Nick Nickerson. So He's getting up there slowly, trying to eat into this lead that he has, as his lead has been eaten up by Nick Nickerson, of all people, going to the outside, making the pass, dropping him back to second. Again, Nick Nickerson, your points leader coming in here. 1 win, 3 top 5s in his last 4 races. So having a strong season, and he's making that count here this evening, getting out front very early at Michigan.
Yeah, and our residential oval driver, Christopher Hamilton, doing a good job, tailing him behind Eric Andrews right there, trying to keep that nose up in front.
Yeah, it's all about understanding where the car is going to work, and he was at this practice as well, and you learn that the high line is kind of where you need to go on these cars. I feel like the Cup cars, they give you a little more freedom to move around and really kind of play around with where you can place the car. Here, it's almost like a 1 to 2 lane race where you're going to be running that middle line just off the lower, I guess you say banking there in turns 1 and 2, and just off that banking again going off 3 and 4. So not as many lines here that you can run on, not as many crossovers as you can do. But if you can get the position on people going into these corners like we're seeing here, Kevin Foster challenging Christopher Hamilton, it's going to be important to be able to, you need to kind of know where these cars are going to work. And right now, the middle and somewhat maybe getting higher later in the race, but right now the middle and then the low side through the tri-oval, that's going to be the keys to win this race right now.
Well, it looks like these guys are stretching out just a little bit. Not too much action coming up. Let's go through the line real fast and talk about some of the drivers. We didn't have an opportunity to do that, so let's go ahead and take that chance right now while everyone's stretching out to kind of go through some of the drivers. In first place, we have Nick Nickerson running the 85 Miller Draft. Nice, clean paint scheme on that guy. A lot of stickers, though, on the side. It looks like they're stuck over each other. Couldn't find out how many he wanted, but too many sponsors, it's not a problem.
There's no such thing as too many sponsors when you're in racing.
Especially when it's covering your windshield.
It's fine. I do love Fig Newtons.
Yeah, I do. And then right behind him is once again Eric Andrews running in the Vision paint scheme. A nice solid green and gray paint scheme. Then right behind him we have Kevin Foster in the Cancer Sucks. Hashtag Austin Strong. Austin is a friend of Kevin Foster that I believe it's his 3rd bout of cancer, and all our thoughts and prayers go out to him. A lot of the guys are running a paint scheme for him, and we're here to help support and bring in help for the cause.
Absolutely.
And then right behind him, we have the number 15 in the Southern Heart Creations, Christopher Hamilton. Nice, clean paint scheme. He just made that recently, and I think it looks good. I don't know if you noticed it, but there's a Death by Moose Media logo on there that has flowers in the horns. I thought that was hilarious.
Very nice. Springtime logo. I like it.
Yes. And then we have in the number 8, that's going to be Gregory Thompson running the Budweiser 3 Doors Down, or Bud 3 Doors Down. That is a nice, clean, and cool paint scheme. Right behind him, we have the one-handed wonder chasing down his beer, Terry Condas, in the Blue Def 32. That's right. You need Blue Def for your diesel engines to get rid of those exhaust fumes. Carl Handwerk running in the number 18, hashtag Austin Strong, once again, out here to support him. Joshua Billiter running in the Southern Heart Creations and Mountain Melts paint scheme. That is a merger of 2 beautiful paint schemes. It's almost like a Bob Ross, just melds together. No mistakes, just little
Ross.
Yeah. And then behind him we have in the Black Rifle Coffee and Bass Pro Shop number 34, Anthony Keysweater, doing a good job keeping a good pace out there. And in the number 68 Spiderwire, that's Paul Butler. And then we have in the Spree multicolor car. That's an old school Sprint logo. Wow, that's a dated logo, but really cool. That is the number 43 Jonathan Platt, the winner of last week's race. And then behind him we have Kenny Holdman running in the number 47 Red Bull. Once again, if anyone out there is wanting to check out his Twitch stream, he actually streams his races. It is going to be at R3DLOH. That is Redlow Twitch TV. So if you want to check it out and get an in-car view for most of the race, you can check him out and jump in there. We then have right behind him in the number 49, Ryan McCall. Nice clean paint scheme. Nothing too custom yet, but we'll see what happens. And in the 54, we have the First Foundation. That's going to be Paul Owens, who we just saw racing earlier, and back at it again. And then
Still struggling to kind of get through the field there. He was one of those drivers affected by the inversion. Hasn't moved up very far since that inversion.
It looks like they're all running the same pace, so it's going to be kind of difficult. And we'll have to see these guys how they work their way through and kind of use the pack to their advantage. We have the number 36. That's going to be Josh. I believe that's Gwetsky. Sorry, Josh, if I mispronounced that. I'm going to have to talk to you afterwards and get the proper pronunciation for your name, because that is definitely throwing me for a loop. But beautiful 36 U.S. Army paint scheme right there. We have the number 35, Wesley Fuller, Stand Up to Cancer. Wesley Fuller had, I believe, lost his sister to cancer, and so now he does what he can to support Stand Up to Cancer. He has a donation page if you want to check it out. I believe it is Wesley Fuller, or I'll have to get the exact link for it and post it, but any little amount helps. And then we have Bill Harkins bringing the number 11 Wounded Warrior Project. I like that paint scheme. That's cool. And then we have in the number 1 Ron McCall. Oh, looks like we have 2 McCalls.
Looks like it.
Yeah, and the number 1 Chevy, or 01 Chevy, and then looks like Paul Owens dropped out to the back. So let's go ahead and get back to the action and get you guys updated with what's going out in the field.
Yeah, let's take a look at Paul Owens right quick. Unscheduled pit stop for him. Kind of just dived it down toward pit road about a lap or two ago. Unusual. He was only on pit road for about 4.1 seconds, so not quite sure why he had to pit. Didn't seem like he had too many issues there, at least going into 3 and 4. But that's going to put him in the clutches of the leaders, the 85 of Nick Nickerson and the 9 of Eric Andrews, all right behind him. That's going to put him at risk of going 1 lap down already.
Gee Willikers, they're right behind you, man.
Yeah, that's an unscheduled stop. I'm not sure why he had to come in. And like I said, watching him, it seemed like he was having a decent pace, at least trying to keep up with the cars that was in front of him. Then suddenly I noticed he was on pit road. His telemetry changed. So sudden unscheduled pit stop for the 54, putting him at the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. Maybe he forgot to grab fuel.
Something must have happened. I don't know. Not quite sure, but that's going to put him behind the 8 ball, at least early here in the goings of the Vision Marketing 150 here at Michigan International Speedway.
Yeah, and we're seeing a battle break out between the number 8 and number 18. That's going to be Kevin Foster and Carl Handwerk, as Carl Handwerk makes a nice pass and followed up behind Christopher Hamilton trying to push through.
I mean, give a call to Carl Handwerk, but let's go back and kind of focus on also Christopher Hamilton and Kevin Foster, who have been kind of engaged in a duel for the last about 5 or so laps, maybe even a little longer. Those two have jockeyed for position and battled each other back and forth. And Carl Handwerk, one of those drivers affected by the inversion there, dropped to the back at the start of the race. He's the only driver really to be able to climb his way out of that hole and get himself into the top 10. It's Kenny Holloman in the 47, currently sits P12. And as we talked about earlier, Paul Owens right now at the risk of going 1 lap down, sitting in 18th place.
Yeah, that is in the beginning a very scary position to be in. I really want to pull him in if a caution comes out, and talk to him and see what happened, because that's definitely a big oops. And yeah. I definitely wonder what the cause of that. Maybe he had to pull in and do something. Maybe his parents opened the door and asked him a question, and he was by pit, and he was like, I got a pit.
Yeah, I mean, again, these things can happen, but kind of is early. He can get himself back in the running here. Of course, we do have the competition caution at lap 30, conclusion of that lap. But again, it's such a tough hole to climb out of at a track like this, where we're seeing large green flag runs, and we're about 16 laps into this green flag run. No cautions yet, but plenty of racing action so far. So far, been the Nick Nickerson show out front for a majority of the race.
Yeah, and these guys, Carl Handwerk eating up the field on these guys. He is really running for that place. So he's definitely burning off his tires, and I think he just pushed into Nick Nickerson a little bit, give him a little hello.
Yeah, I mean, down the front stretch, these cars, as we mentioned earlier, they're a little more stable than your Cup car, and when you're running here, you're able to give it a little push. Again, always want to be square when you're pushing on the back of a car, or even a truck here, running the C-Class Gander Mountain Outdoor Truck Series, running those cars. You got to be square on the bumper if you're going to be delivering bumps like that. Don't want to do it in the turns. But you're seeing it work for Carl. He's able to move through this traffic, and he's gone from the back to the front, now sitting P3, trying to attack, looks like Eric Andrews here. That's going to be a battle for second place.
Now, something I want to point out, and I wanted to know if you know the setup, but it looks like their grill is almost, I would say, 95% taped up. Am I correct on that? It looks like they have just a little square.
When you're running these kind of ovals, especially a track like this, it's about trying to get that car sealed off without going over. You want to get as much tape on that nose as possible without jeopardizing and worrying about temperatures within the engine, overheating. So it's very possible these setups were tuned in such a way that you want to make sure that that car is sealed off and there's enough air getting in there to keep the car cool, but also maximizing that downforce and being able to get that car to turn and rotate. As we see the 18 of Carl Handwerk just rotate by the 9 car and go straight to the lead there.
Yeah, he is punching through. I don't know where he found that speed.
Well, now I think if I'm the 54 Paul Owens, I'm going to be watching that because I now see that the 18 is closing up, and now I'm at risk again of possibly going a lap down. Looking further back, Eric Andrews now at risk of losing second place to Nick Nickerson.
I don't know where Carl found that speed, but he is flying, and there he goes. Around Paul Owens.
Now he's able to go by Paul Owens. He yields a spot that's going to put him back 1 lap down. Right now, of course, Paul is the only car 1 lap down, so of course he would get back on the lead lap should a caution come out. Most likely at this pace, probably that competition caution on lap 30. But right now, Carl putting on a show right now, a second ahead of Eric Andrews, and then about 3/10 behind them going back to Nick Nickerson. Terry Condas give a call to him, P4, and Kevin Foster rounding out the top 5.
And he, I think, is still gaining speed.
Yeah, he's pacing very well. I mean, his last lap time was a 41.008. He has the fastest lap of the race so far at a 39.741. So he's pacing very quickly. He's pacing about a 10th faster than the best time of Eric Andrews. And when you look at the splits in comparison to them from the last lap, he was 0.4 of a second faster than Eric Andrews during that run, 0.5 of a second faster than Nick Nickerson.
That is insane. Maybe practice makes perfect.
I mean, we have to talk about Carl Handwerk in terms of his performance because those who have watched the Core Racing League know he was kind of a force to be reckoned with, especially during season 2
and season 1.
Yeah, but even just last season, 8 wins during season 2. He got a couple of back-to-backs, and he won 2 of the opening 4 races. But then jump to this season, he has not won yet this season. He's been shut out 4 times.
And honestly, the running joke is CORE stands for Carl outraces everyone. And he's doing that today. I don't know where he found that speed or where it's coming from, but he definitely has a fast car tonight. So he's definitely a CORE racer tonight.
One of the questions I was going to kind of pose is, will Carl be able to break through and get that first win of the season here tonight? Because when you go back in the history books of the Core Racing League, Michigan has only been on the schedule for Core Racing once. Now during season 1, where ironically Carl Handwerk won in the Dallara IndyCar machine. So the track bodes well to Carl, at least in that regard. But now he has to complete the job. He clearly has a car that can win. Now he has to go out there and get the job done after 75 laps in total. And we're seeing Terry Condas, who, wow, look at him move up into second.
He just found the line.
He found a line that took him straight to second place. I mean, that dude is rolling right now.
Yeah, he picked up on that magic. I think Terry put down his beer for once. Look at him go.
Or maybe it is the beer that is helping him in this situation.
He's just poured it into his gas tank. Nothing like a little shine in there, right?
Exactly. I mean, this is Terry. Terry wasn't at the last race, but when we talk about Terry, in the 2 races he's finished in the top 5 in both of those races. And he also recorded the fastest lap during the Kansas race where he did get another top 5 there. So when he's able to run, he's a very competitive driver, and he's showing that he can drive these cars pretty dang well. And maybe he's not quite there with Carl Handwerk right now, but he's right there in the ballpark in that running of the top 5 in terms of lap times.
And another person to point out that's making a move for the run is Kevin Foster. He's passing Nick Nickerson, and he's definitely in the gunning for it. Look at him pick up speed. Oh, yeah, he's getting close.
Yeah, Kevin Foster, you never can count him out in a race. And I feel like a race like this does suit his driving style. A long run race where the tires are going to fall off and he can kind of pick off the drivers one by one. Kevin Foster coming off a great run last week at Myrtle Beach. Unfortunately, had some bad luck toward the end, but he was really up there a lot during that short track Saturday night race here in Core last week. And he's kind of showing that he can run very well during the Sunday side of things as well in these NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, sitting P5 right now.
Yeah, and definitely looking at his time, looks like he's slowly catching up to Eric Andrews. So we're probably going to see a top 3 battle between Terry Condas, Kevin Foster, and Carl Handwerk. But lo and behold, we still have the invert. So that is going to play into effect for all these guys that are pushing hard.
Yeah, I think that's going to play into effect, obviously, once we get that yellow flag to come out. But right now, you're racing for those stage points. You're racing for those bonus points now. And then once you get to that stage inversion, then you kind of just have to say, all right, well, now this is my bed. I got to sleep in it now with these circumstances. But right now, these drivers are pushing hard to maximize those bonus points because, as we've learned over the last few weeks, those bonus points are so important to these drivers. And Kevin Foster, as we talked about him, one of the leaders in bonus points at 31 so far this season, only 3 behind Carl Handwerk at 34.
And speaking of punching it, Jonathan Platt, boom, he's hit the pedal to the metal. Look at him go.
It's what we were talking about earlier with these tires during the ISRC race. When the tires begin to fall off, the car's going to behave differently. I really believe that you find out kind of what kind of driver someone is based on how their tires wear during a long run. If they're a quick, kind of fast 5 laps kind of driver on fresh tires, you can see that on those new tires at the beginning of a run or the start of the race. But you'll see these drivers like Jonathan Platt or Kevin Foster who can work their way toward the front on old tires. And that is so important when you have these long runs that could possibly even make long runs toward the end of the race, because depending on how this race shakes out after we go to our caution at the conclusion of lap 30, you could see another green flag run where these guys have to pit under green and potentially have to make a long run to the end.
And now to point something out, we also had 3 pits happen already. That's going to be Paul Owens, Wesley Fuller, and Ryan McCall. I know Wesley Fuller had some damage. I saw it on the sides. It looks like he touched on some stuff. But we might see a strategy breaking out right now. Someone foregoing stage points to try and grab a win. They might be pitting early so they can stay out during the caution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you always see that kind of happen here where you're going to try and gamble, see if you can make something work, go off strategy a bit, kind of break with the herd, as they say, and try and do something a little different. And you might be seeing that develop between Ryan McCall, maybe even Paul Owens. Maybe he came in for a splash at the beginning of that run just to make it to a certain point in the race. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what his strategy is. We're not in the heads of these drivers, but we can at least extrapolate from up here. The method of trying to break from the herd to try and make something happen for you is very common, especially at a race like this where fuel is very important. So not unusual to start seeing some drivers make some pit stops early. It looks like Ryan McCall is 5 laps down, so maybe had some issues there. And Wesley Fuller 2 laps down there. Had a very long pit stop there to 49 of Ryan McCall. Right now, Carl Handwerk just out doing his own thing, 3 seconds ahead of Terry Condis, Eric Andrews, Kevin Foster, Jonathan Platt, your top 5. If you missed the start of the race, Carl Handwerk was relegated to the back along with Paul Owens and Kenny Holderman. Those guys have slowly climbed their way into the top 10. Carl Handwerk leading, Kenny Holderman back in 8th. Paul Owens unable to kind of get over that hurdle, pitted early, 1 lap down back in 16th.
Yeah, and at the finish of lap 30 is when we're going to see the comp caution come out. So we're on lap 30.
Carl Handwerk out there by himself right now. So really no challengers for the lead there with Terry Condis and Eric Andrews behind him. You know, see maybe a battle brew between Jonathan Platt and Kevin Foster. If Jonathan Platt can get there, still about 0.4 of a second separating those 2 cars. So still got some ground to make up. He'd have to make it up in this corner if he wants to try and get a couple extra points. But again, in the mind of conservation, a lot of these drivers will generally just try and take those points that they can get at that time, not risk themselves or the other driver to try and do that. We see a great rotation through the corner by Jonathan Platt. On the corner, he's going to dive to the inside there, but the caution is out as we have crossed our finish line. That'll be a safe P4 for Kevin Foster. Jonathan Platt P5, a win on the stage.
What a run. Well, going to jump to a quick commercial, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to the Core Racing League. That was our league sponsor, Southern Heart Creations. Once again, if anyone wants to win one of the clips, Carvent clips, Southern Heart Creations, you need to go to either the Facebook page that is listed in the description or send an email to carl@coreracingleague.com, and the code word to send is SHC, Southern Heart Creations, or SHC. And that is all you need to do, and it enters you into the raffle, which we will announce and get into contact with you after the race.
All right, seeing all the leaders come to pit road here, perfect time to get some fresh tires and kind of set yourself up for that next run. Going to be an exciting run to the finish here. Very clean start to the race. seeing one driver looks like they had an issue getting into their pits there. Don't want to do that here. Every second counts when you're on pit road, so definitely want to lose some time there. Looks like might have been Nick Nickerson there, in 85, having some issues getting in his pit. That's going to cost him a lot of time there.
Oh.
He came in in 7th place there. He's going to fall back a few spots because of that.
And looky, who's up in the front? We have Paul Owens, Wesley Fuller, and Ryan McCall. Called it. Looks like
Paul Owens, like he will get back on the lead lap after all his that struggle there. So,
and it looks like same thing with Ryan needs to get back on the lead lap. He's got 3 laps to go. But definitely enough time, I believe, to get himself at least up in that running.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, let's talk about some of the other drivers we saw running well in that field. I mean, we highlighted Terry again. Look at him running up there, going to that stage, 2nd place. Solid run so far for him on the way to get his 3rd top 5 in 3 starts here in Core Racing League. But also Jonathan Platt, who didn't maybe feel like he could run well here, but he's done a good job taking advantage of the old tires and worked his way up toward the top 5, battling with Kevin Foster late in the end there. Couldn't quite get to his door, but solid top 5 run for him.
Yeah, honestly, I think he found his comfort zone. You know, we saw him pacing back there and kind of just getting the feel for the track, and I think he just found it and he just punched it. And he just decided to start, testing the field a little bit harder and see what he can do, and he definitely found the speed.
And when we go back to last week, I mean, that was his first core win in his career here in the league, winning at Myrtle Beach Speedway. And that could serve as a momentum boost for him, because when you string together a good series of finishes, that's a confidence boost for you. I mean, that win in itself leapfrogged him into 2nd place in the point standings, one behind Nick Nickerson. So far this season, flying under the radar, but he has a win and 3 top 5s and top 10 finishes in all 4 of the core races so far this season.
Yeah, he's been one of those guys to keep an eye on the whole race. So I'm not surprised that he got a win, especially with the super late models on a dirt track. Not a dirt track, on a short course. But Platt's always been up there, even since the season 1 where he popped in for a couple races. He was gunning with Carl, I believe. It was either Carl or Kevin for 1st place, like the first race. He's always been up there. And he did get wrecked. He did wreck out on that one, but it's just one of those things where he's always been up there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pull in Carl Handwerk real fast. Hey Carl, you there?
I'm here, buddy.
Lucky number 6.
All right, sounds good.
You got it. All right, that is the number for tonight. For the inversion is going to be 6 drivers are going to have to fall back again. So that's going to be Carl Handwerk. That's going to be Carl Handwerk, Kevin Foster, Terry Condes, Eric Andrews, and Christopher Hamilton.
And briefly, while these guys are getting sorted out after this whole inversion situation, going back to Platt and talking about his consistency has been going on since at least season 2, when he was running more often during that season, because his top 10 streak goes back all the way to that time. And he's nabbed top 10s in 7 of his last 8 races going back to season 2.
Yeah.
So you really can't count him out. He really should be part of the conversation for the championship with numbers like that.
No, and I think this year he will be. Sorry, not this year. I think this season he will be. I think this is his season to really shine, to be honest. I think he's... it's finally coming. He's finally getting up to, I guess the where he needs to be, and not having any mistakes happen out there on the track.
And yeah, like I say, when we talk about bonus points, I mean, that's something we always highlight because they're so important, as we've seen both in sim racing, but also in real motorsports and NASCAR especially. Bonus points, he's right there with these guys in terms of getting them. He has 30 bonus points, 4th place overall in the league right now, only 4 behind Carl Handwerk, Nick Nickerson with 32, Kevin Foster 31, and Willie Everham, who's not here tonight, our sponsor for last week at Myrtle Beach, back there, 26 points. So that's a solid amount of points these guys are accumulating early in the season.
Yeah. Now it looks like we have some guys getting back up to the lead lap. So once again, we will go green. They will slowly pace. They will then invert their positions. And then once that's done, we will go green on lap 36. The true green flag will be on lap 36.
True green. So yeah, when you talk about, inversion, that just adds such a whole nother dynamic to the game. When I think of inversions, I think about the old days of the NASCAR Nextel All-Star Challenge back at Charlotte Motor Speedway. they would do these inversions during the All-Star race that would really shake up the field and just added more excitement to the race. So when the sponsors of these races add these inversions, it's just more excitement for the drivers. It adds a challenge for those fast guys to now they have to cut through traffic. They have to get their way back to the front, but also gives an opportunity for some of the guys who may have been running further back to employ some strategy. Maybe they've done something in the pits or something somewhere else during the race to get themselves in position here, maybe take advantage of the track position they've been gifted through the inversion.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how that plays out for a lot of people. You know, with Eric Andrews doing a good job holding that front pack, will he have the speed to punch through? You know, we saw Carl really punching it out there. You know, I don't know if some of these drivers have the speed to really punch through like Carl was. So that's definitely going to change it up. You know, we definitely saw it out of Terry Condas and also Jonathan Platt pick up on the lines that they need to run. But now that they're rotated back, you know, we have it swap positions. Josh Billiter in front. Christopher Hamilton taking second, Jonathan Platt, Eric Andrews, Terry Condas, and Carl Handwerk. So it's not a full field inversion where they go to the rear, but it's definitely a swap of positions. So first goes to whatever last place number.
Right. Again, getting ready for the restart here. No pace car this time. So as usual, we'll see the field be under the control of the 3 car, Joshua Billiter, as we get ready to go back green here on lap 36 into the Geico restart zone at green here at Michigan International Speedway. Side by side, that's a battle for second place between Christopher Hamilton and Jonathan Platt.
And Josh Billiter holding up strong up in the front. Look at him go. Looks like Jonathan Platt making a punch down the center.
Using that inside line. This is the time to do it when you have the new tires. The car will grip down there pretty well. You'll move at the track just a little bit there like you saw Jonathan Platt do. And that's why the inside can be a bit of a challenge to run consistently because you are going to push the nose a bit. But during the early run, you can try and stay there and fight, drive it in deep and try and slide up a bit. We're seeing the 43 now get side by side with the 3. They're going to be door to door coming off turn 4 as now the 9 introduces himself to the battle and tries to battle with Christopher Hamilton back there in the 15.
And that is correct. And you can see right there, Josh Billiter not wanting to give up position. He's going toe-to-toe with Jonathan Platt right now.
And he's going to stay on the outside there, but we know right now that the 43, he's going to try and make this run off the inside, go up to the outside of the wall, work, and he'll do it. The 3 car fading back pretty quickly.
Did you just see that?
Seemed like he had just lost his momentum there. Probably was seeing the wall come up on him a bit too much, and that's when you have to get on the brakes and let off just to be careful, as you talked about earlier.
Yeah, but we also had someone punch through. That was Christopher Hamilton threading the needle between both the number 3 and the number 9, Eric Andrews. And
it's one of those situations where you know Carl Handwerk's coming and you're trying to get to work because you don't know if you're going to be able to lead a lap again when Carl gets up there. He had a 2-second lead at one point, almost 3, going into that stage caution. And now you're seeing him slowly close up on the 15 and the 43. He's going to shift to the outside here. Just the momentum he's able to carry through the apex of the corner off is remarkable in that 18 car. Going to get side by side with the 15 going into 3 as the 43 changes lanes, goes high to try and prevent an attack from Carl and exits.
Yeah, and honestly, what you're probably going to see is when Carl comes up to Jonathan Platt, he's willing to, race against you. So we're probably going to see a couple blocks thrown, and this is it's going to spice up the battle. I'm actually excited to see what happens between both Carl and Jonathan Platt if they go door to door.
And we see the 18 dropping low, going there to the inside, going to try and see what he can find on the inside of the track, whereas the 43 is going to stick right to that middle groove there, riding that seam in the track between the lower groove and the upper groove, trying to protect both lanes there. Because while you can move these cars around and switch lanes like you saw in the Cup cars, it's a little harder to do in these cars because, again, they stiffen up on you. Yeah, they're a little tight. They're a little got a little bit of understeer there, so it's hard to swing them around as much as you would do with the Cup cars.
Yeah, and we are door to door. Look at that. Jonathan Platt being pushed out to the outside. Yeah.
That battle brewing coming to the start-finish line. Going to be a narrow fight here, but it looks like, looking at scoring, Jonathan Platt will just lead that lap by 0.007 going into turn 1.
And someone still in the running, Terry Condas. Look at that. He just passed Christopher Hamilton, and now he's coming up on Eric Andrews. And Jonathan Platt
working his way up toward his group here. And now we're seeing he has really got something for these guys, and we've been talking about him kind of off and on during the race. Whenever he's shown up for Core, he's really come to work, and he has done some great work here. And it's not just in more the oddity races where you saw the Daytona prototypes at Kansas, which was kind of an unusual race. This is a bread and butter race for a driver like Terry Condis. He's got experience running these Xfinity cars. He has experience here. And you're seeing that come to the top here, running P4, trying to chase down Eric Andrews.
Yeah, and you can see, both him, Carl Handwerk, and Jonathan Platt. Carl Handwerk finding his speed right now, and I think he just checked out. Damn, there he goes. But
well, he's checking out. I mean, you see this battle beginning to slowly develop between the 9 and the 43, and this only stands to benefit the 32 of Terry Condis, because once these guys start racing, that will slowly help Terry be able to reel them in, and he'll be able to join that battle for second place.
Oh yeah, and here he goes.
So just really going to ride in that slipstream, ride in that draft, trying to slowly close that gap. I mean, it's a creep. You're trying to just collect tenths of a second down the straightaway here, and you're slowly getting it. But what you prefer to see, if you're Terry Condis or even the 15 behind him of Christopher Hamilton, you want to see those guys start racing each other. Single file is great. It helps you all close up. But them racing each other, you can take advantage of maybe an opening developing where you can make a pass, and that helps you more than maybe these guys kind of going single file. But we're seeing that gap slowly close. Notice it's beginning to contract, going from 2 cars battling for second, now to almost 4.
Yeah, and as these guys closing the gaps, you can definitely tell that they're not in the mood to race each other. They want to close that gap. They're going to make a pass like Terry Conda's doing right now on Eric Andrews, but only when they feel the speed that they have that can seal the deal. And it looks like he's not able to finish it, but that was definitely a close push.
You're going to see right here exactly what you need to do in that situation, which is if you can't complete the pass, you get immediately back in line, because you don't want to give that car behind you, who has the clean air, somewhat clean air, but the momentum behind you coming off too, to be able to take that spot from you and then just roll into that spot and pin you down and prevent you from getting back in line. So you're kind of playing offense defense when you're trying to make passes here, particularly off 2. You're trying to get that run off while also protecting yourself from the run off from the guy behind you. And we're seeing it here, the 43 given a bit of a reprieve here from these guys battling. He's able to drive away just a bit. So now Eric Andrews is going to have to be in a battle for 3rd place with Terry Condis and Christopher Hamilton. And slowly but surely, Nick Nickerson back there into 85 is slowly catching this group as well.
Yeah, I wonder if they made some changes, because the last time I popped into practice, I felt like the cars were they could pull into each other a little bit better. They weren't able to check out as much. And we're seeing right here what I would say the direct opposite of what I saw in practice, which was the cars being able to, Carl checked out. He's gone.
Well, I think that comes down to the long and short run. I mean, during the practice, we didn't see many runs of this length.
True.
During the practice of going on 14, 15 laps. And when we talk about tires, those are going to be exacerbated in these cars because, again, I personally feel like those Cup cars, while the tires do wear out on them, it takes a lot more time, in my opinion, for those cars to really fall off, as opposed to these where the fall off is pretty quick. And you kind of go from being a really fast, kind of on top of each other grid of cars to the drivers who are able to drive on older tires being able to take advantage of the older tires and rise to the top and be able to pull away. And that's what you're seeing here is a lot of these drivers who have experience running long runs, particularly this track, really rise to the top here and showcase their stuff.
Yeah, and that seems to be the case. Is that they're really just strutting out there, and it's pretty crazy, to be honest. We're 46 laps in, green flag, and these guys, up in the front are just pushing past each other.
Absolutely. I mean, again, when we look at the scoring chart, I'm going to look at the data here, but coming into this, Eric Andrews, as you see, he's in the middle of a line of cars. The previous lap, Carl Handwerk was about 4 hundredths faster than Eric Andrews, who is currently in a draft of 3 cars. So that just tells you kind of the pace that Carl Handwerk's able to carry. And even still, right now, Carl Handwerk out there, his last lap was a 40.533. Eric Andrews is not that much faster at a 40.496. So literal hundredths of a second faster than Carl Handwerk, but it's just so much to overcome right now in terms of trying to catch him first.
And he's working on it, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get him.
It's really a matter of, unlike Talladega and Daytona, where a car by itself really isn't beneficial. You're in a draft, obviously the cars are built in a different manner.
Yeah.
This track, if you know how to attack it, this is a track where you have a lot of experience. And again, I feel like when you're running here, your previous iRacing experience will come through. So during your iRacing career, you're probably running Michigan pretty often. If you were here when the track first came out, you probably did a bunch of races when the track first debuted, this version of it at least, and got a lot of experience here. And that experience doesn't change much with the models. It does adjust based on how the tire models change and the aero of the car. But that ingrained knowledge that you gain on this track doesn't change. And we're really seeing Carl Handwerk put on a show here today, really showing how to tackle this track. But let's keep in mind here, his lead has not gone out to as far as it was on the previous run. He got out to about 3 seconds ahead. Right now, it's about half that at a second and a half between himself and Jonathan Platt. So these guys are holding with him, but if anything, they're making very small inroads into his lead.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to see how it plays out for everyone else too, because we do have these guys on the front that we've been talking for a while, but everyone else, they're chugging along. They're trying to catch up. They're trying to get that push. And we have been seeing definitely a difference between the guys running in the front, but looking at their times, I think if they had maybe someone a little bit faster in their pack, we'd be seeing them running back up to the group, because everything from fourth down to eighth, we're talking like extremely similar lap times. Like Kevin Foster just ran a faster lap than second place Jonathan Platt.
But I also think that in the situation that we're in right now is when you're running on a track like this, compared to Talladega and Daytona, where if the chassis is just right, you're pretty much trying to just keep the car woed up and all out, keeping it in the gas as much as possible without letting off. Here, you're not just fighting with aero, you're also fighting with the track. So the track is still in the driver's hands. So whereas Talladega and Daytona, yes, there's challenge in trying to keep your car straight, running in the draft, running side by side, sometimes 3 wide as a train of cars. You're not necessarily fighting grip with the track. Here, you're fighting with the tire grip. You're fighting with the condition of the track. You're fighting with the fact that you can't run low. You're running a particular line around here to remain fast. So if any driver is able to figure that out and understand that line a little better, they're going to be they're going to receive the benefits of that. And we're seeing that here with Carl Handwerk and even Jonathan Platt and Eric Andrews, that core group here, which is slowly reining in Carl Handwerk, because his lead about a couple laps ago was 1.5 seconds. Now it's dwindled a bit down to 1.1. So the race is beginning to enter its later stages. We're starting to see that lead slowly drop by Carl Handwerk, which begs the question, is he relaxing a bit, saving his stuff, or are the guys behind him just that much faster?
That, or did he just wear out his car? Has he been driving that hard?
I mean, again, the scoring chart shows that they're still running about 2/10 within each other. I mean, looking at the last lap, Carl Handwerk ran a 41.124. Jonathan Platt ran a 41.012. So very, very similar lap times within a few hundreds of one another. So again, it's very possible Carl's maybe trying to save his stuff, let them come to within about a second of him and save that material, save those tires, which is very important here, save them for the later run of this race.
Yeah, and right now we're actually seeing a good battle between Nick Nickerson and Kenny Holderman.
Yeah, Nick Nickerson, we never really can discount him. I mean, he's been running very well all season. He is your points leader coming into this race, only 1 point ahead of Jonathan Platt. So that was that's a very close battle we're developing there. And right now, Jonathan Platt.
I was about to just say the same thing. He pitted. He's going
Jonathan
in for
Platt
fuel.
coming in here.
And that's something. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just going to watch his pit stop right quick.
That's something Carl mentioned to me, is they were going to have to do one green flag pit stop. So it's on the schedule. These guys need to pit. And it's just, when are they going to do it? Who's going to do it? And is it going to work out for them?
That was a 13.9 second pit stop for Jonathan Platt. And this track particularly, you have to be careful exiting the pits, because the car will want to get loose there on that apron, that very dirty, untouched apron. As you're on fresh tires, you want to get a little squirrely. So you're really riding a fine line there, trying to get the most speed out of the car and also make sure you don't go above the yellow line or cross before you get to that pit lane exit cone there. You want to make sure you have a clean pit stop. Jonathan Platt doing just that, getting back on track here.
Yeah, and we're probably going to see Jonathan Platt take first place when everyone decides to pop in and pit.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Now that he
you
made
have
that
to
move.
perfect. Yeah, you have to have perfect exits right now if you want to maintain your spot. Terry Condis, great pit stop by him. He's gonna be side by side with the 18 there. He's gonna let him go here, but wow, phenomenal pit stop by him. That was a 10.1 second stop. That could have been 2 tires possibly for him.
Yeah, and now to point out someone that is notorious for long runs, Kevin Foster deciding not to pit. Now he's 2 laps away from the lead.
Interesting strategy. I mean, we know how Kevin Foster is. He could be staying out here trying to go for the long haul, run that car out of fuel, or at least staying out for 1 lap, knowing he's out front, knowing he has a gap behind him. Maybe try and lead that lap coming to pit road so he can get those bonus points.
Yeah, I don't know what he's gonna do. He might try and. I know for fuel they have to pit. The question is, how close is he gonna call it? And he's staying out again. He feels confident that he can throw down enough time, and that might be his goal right now. He might be trying to put out a big enough space to do maybe a fuel pit, probably 5 seconds or so.
That's going to be a challenge when you're racing against a bunch of cars who have done 4-tire pit stops. I mean, looking at the times on the scoreboard, a majority of the guys who came in during that last big group have taken about 13 to 15 seconds on pit road. That's indicative of 4 tires and fuel on those cars.
Yeah.
So there are 2 things you have to think about. One, while you're staying out here on the track, how much time are you losing to these guys by staying out? As we see him forego pit road yet again, how much time are you losing to them by staying out? And how much time are you going to lose by opting maybe not to take tires here? Because again, your tires can be very old compared to these guys.
Honestly, he's been keeping this. He's been gaining, actually. If we look at his speed, he's at 4.9, almost 5 seconds ahead of Anthony Kieswetter. So he's definitely keeping that distance. And I think. Go ahead.
But I was going to point out, when you look at the scoring chart, the last lap times, Carl Handwerk ran a 39.802. And Kevin Foster ran a 41.344. So that's 2 seconds between those guys lost in terms of lap time. That's now that big number, that disparity in terms of how much time you're losing between the cars on fresh tires and those not. But to your point, I think you might be right that he might be trying to get as close as he can on fuel to take as little as he has to and maybe gamble and take no tires or 2 tires at most. Haven't seen anyone do that here. I know that's a really risky thing to do when you have fresh tires on one side, old tires on the other. It can make the car behave so differently. But you can't win a championship without taking risks.
Yeah, I think that's what the call is. I think he's going to try and he's either going to grab gas and just run it, or he's going to grab gas and 2 tires like he just said. But I don't think that's a bad strategy. If he can keep up the distance, you're talking about pitting and leaving right before. So he's got to beat Anthony Kieswetter is his goal.
Yep, so he's dropping on a pit road here at pit road speed, 55 miles an hour. So that will bring him in. We'll see how this goes. I mean, his last time was a 41.541. Carl Handwerk blazing by at a 39.905. So just flying around here is Carl Handwerk and a bunch of other guys behind him.
Looks like he just started his stop. And 6 seconds, 7. So he's grabbing tires now.
Yep, so that's going to be at least 2 tires at minimum
10.
there. And then
there's the 4 tires. He's out.
So maybe tried to see if something would play out in his favor, but maybe didn't go the way he wanted. Usually in that situation, you're also hoping for a quick caution to come out that can kind of help you maintain that position while putting the drivers who did pit at a detriment. That didn't happen, unfortunately, for him, so he's going to come back out here and cycle, probably lose a couple of spots there after sign and stay out just a little longer than the rest of the field.
Now, I want to point out something. Speaking of 2 tires, look at Terry Conda's pit time.
Yeah, I pointed that out. That looked like it was probably a 2-tire stop there.
I missed that. My bad.
No, you're fine. I noticed that because I was looking at how quickly he got out there, because he was door to door. If you noticed,
he
was side by side with Carl Handwerk there coming out of the pits, and he decided to yield and give them that, because you really can't go side by side here at Michigan on the inside apron. Not a good idea. You can try it, but it's not a good idea.
It's not going to bode well for anyone out there.
No. And right now, looking at the scoring here, at least cycling around still, Kevin Foster now scored as 11th. So that strategy tried to make it work, but just didn't work out there. So it's like we're going to cycle around, seeing Gregory Thompson being scored as a race leader, Anthony Kieswetter on pit road. And Paul Butler also still out on the track right now, according to the scoring. So everyone's trying to get, seems like people want to get out there and maybe try and get a lap led, have that to their name. So maybe they feel like they're not going to win, but if you can snag a bonus point or two, bonus points will always help your cause in terms of overall championship performance. Great time to try and do it, at least try and stay out and beat some of your competitors and stay out a little longer than everyone else to try and grab a point or two.
And now, we're riding in the cockpit of Carl Handwerk right now, and it looks like we just had someone pull down into the apron as we fly by. I believe that was Joshua Billiter. Looks like both his paint schemes. I wonder if he got into the wall. But
yeah, he's 2 laps down right now, unfortunately. It looks like the car in front of Carl Handwerk there, second place, Paul Butler, about to get challenged by him. And again, those are 32-lap-old tires on Paul Butler, so really think about that. Carl Handwerk just tracked that car down on his fresh tires. That shows you how much of a premium fresh tires are compared to 32-lap-old tires.
And that's something we're probably going to see Kevin Foster, going for that longest run possible before being caught up by a lot of the other guys. He's probably looking for that end game, speed. But we're going to have to see how that passes out. But, I wanted to point out something, listening to the car and as the car goes around these corners, the tires are chirping a little bit, but it's pretty smooth. It's not, he's not cranking it. He's keeping it as smooth as possible, keep those tires clean and still on the car. And he's just trying to keep it, going fast. And I think it's working out for him.
Yeah, again, I mean, when you're running a track like this where it's so easy to lose that time to a car on pit road, like we saw here, again, those green flag pit stops really shook things up because you can get spread out so fast based on how quickly you're able to get into your box, how quick your pit stop is, how smooth your exit is. Once you get out here and you're all spread out and you're by yourself, you really can manage your own material pretty well. So you're going to see a lot more conservation out of these guys, not really trying to, like you mentioned, crank the wheel too much, not trying to use up that right front too much and abuse it and lose it toward the end of the race, because you never know, there could be a late caution here. I mean, it hasn't been one so far. We only had our one competition caution to hit at lap 30, but you never know when you're talking about auto racing. You always going to have a late caution that can bring everyone back together. So in the event of that, you're probably not going to pit. So you're going to want to protect those tires toward the end. Once you get to maybe 2 to go, then you maybe start cranking in there a little bit. If you're in a position where you're in a battle, like we're seeing a little further back there, Eric Andrews, Terry Condis, kind of within about 0.3 of one another. Those guys might turn it on the bit to try and pull away or catch up to one another. But if you're maybe Carl Handwerk, you're going to just say, I'm going to save my stuff. I'm going to ride around here and try, and if I'm him, get my first victory of season 3.
Yeah, right now it's just pretty much the wait and see. We are 9 laps to go. Who is going to make the right call? Who's going to show up at the end of the race?
Yeah, I think, again, unless something were to happen to Carl, we do get that late race caution. It really is, this is in his control. Right now, looking at his scoring, as of right now, he's about 6 seconds behind Gregory Thompson, who is 34 laps into this run right now. So
how many seconds is he catching up to him each time?
I mean, right there, he's through that one corner, he's gained about 3 to 4 tenths right there. So slowly reeling him in. You have to remember, once he gets through those corners, as that car is gripping better, he's able to carry more speed. Right here, looking at the straights, lost about, that puts him down to 5.5. So,
and Gregory Thompson catching the wall, coming in just a little too, yeah. And you can see right now, Carl just eating up the field now that he caught the wall.
Yep. So, our scoring reset here. That's going to be a very narrow battle now as he just slowly reels him in there. 5.15 seconds, slowly dwindling.
Going for the pass.
That was actually the 36.
Oh, you're right. I'm bad.
That's 2 laps down. You're fine.
My bad.
Still, Gregory Thompson there in the 08, 5.7 seconds ahead. Now dropped down about 4.7. Looks like still reeling him in. So we're going to have an interesting scenario here.
Yeah, and then Jonathan Platt doing the same thing to Carl, trying to catch him.
Yeah, about 2 seconds between those two cars, and then 5 seconds ahead Gregory Thompson is right now. Question is, does he have enough fuel to make it? Because the fuel window that we were provided through practice and data that we've received through the race, fuel window is about 32 to 35 laps. And Gregory Thompson is knocking on the door of that range right now as he makes his way down the backstretch, heading toward turn 3. Carl Handwerk right now in the middle of that same backstretch.
Yeah.
And listening to, there we go, the 08 making his way on the pit road. I heard the engine begin to go a little quiet there. That's him throttling down, entering the pits, and I will cycle the lead around to Carl Handwerk now. That'll get him back out in front with on lap 70 with 6 laps to go. So he tried to make that run last. He probably tried to keep that car out there for as long as he could, right up against the fuel window, and that's going to put him back in back a little ways in traffic as he comes off pit road. Here's like about a 14-second pit stop for him, probably. We'll see how that goes. He's going to put full fuel in that car. Might as well take 4 tires, too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to recover from that, though.
No, there's no time. You're really, again, I talked about it earlier. You're kind of hoping for something to happen in that situation. You're hoping for that rogue caution to come out, because then everyone behind you has to pit anyway, so you magically become the Pied Piper. You're able to dictate the pace and be able to go on pit road as the leader. But unfortunately, that didn't play out for him.
No, I don't think it was going to, just because the way the whole race has been going. A green flag run for pretty much, the whole thing. And we got 5 laps to go. We got 5 minutes left, pretty much. Sorry, less than 5 minutes. We have 2.5 minutes left, and it's counting off real fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, when you go off sequence like that, or you decide to do something a little different than your competitors, not pitting, staying out, you're hoping for a break in the current cycle. So like I said, you're hoping for that quick caution. Yes, I'm sure a driver like Gregory Thompson understood the risk therein of doing that given the current pace, it's unlikely you might see a caution. But if you're not, like I mentioned about championships, you don't win championships by not taking risks.
Yeah, and I think we just saw someone punch it. That's going to be Eric Andrews. He is gaining speed now. I think he just decided to put the pedal down.
Yeah, it's time to go. No better time to do it. And if you have the stuff to try and track down Jonathan Platt, who is about a second ahead of him, maybe just a hair over a second ahead of him, try and use it now. I mean, the clock is ticking. Understand your track position. You're maybe not in a position to track down Carl Handwerk with the laps allotted to you right now, but you might potentially have the ability to track down Jonathan Platt here, as we see those two cross start finish line. Going to be shaping up for an interesting battle between those two, and as well between
Christopher Hamilton and
Contis.
Yeah, I was about to say that Christopher Hamilton and Terry Contis.
Yeah, that group is beginning to kind of tighten up there a bit. I mean, you got drivers like Nick Nickerson, Kevin Foster, Terry Contis, and Christopher Hamilton, all kind of within about a second of each other, maybe just a hair over. That group is starting to sort of contract there a little bit. We'll see if they start getting a little racy toward the end of this run and end of this race. But coming up on about 2 laps to go here at Michigan International Speedway. I mean, what can you say about the performance of Carl Handwerk tonight? I mean, he came out here, was faced with the inversion after starting on the pole, went to the back, got back to the front during the same stage. Only another driver, Kenny Holloman, was able to get into the top 10 and get stage points during the first stage. And now is putting on a command performance here in the final stages of this race, Division Marketing 150 at Michigan. So only 2 more times by for Carl Handwerk, working his way through 3 and 4, jockeying for position. That's the 85 and the 15. Christopher Hamilton on the inside. They're battling right now, and Kevin Foster now watching all this unfold in front of his windshield, coming to the white flag here this time by.
And I'm pretty sure unless something really bad happens, this is in Carl's bag. He's got this one.
I mean, again, we talked about, it's been the conversation, we talked about it before the broadcast, of kind of when will he break through? When will that first win come? Going 4 races without a win was unusual for Carl. When you look at the record books for the past 2 seasons, he finished very well in the last few races, but just hasn't been able to get the job done. And now we saw, it seemed like maybe something turned on in him. He got determined, he got really focused, maybe put in some extra practice here, did some excellent work, and he'll come off turn 4 unchallenged as he will win Division Marketing 150 here at Michigan International Speedway. That's his first win of season number 3.
Wow, and followed up by, Jonathan Platt and Eric Andrews, both well-deserved drivers for that podium.
And a great run in our top 5. Look at that. I mean, that's top 5 comprised of all of your points leaders, and then going even further back, top 6, all members of the top 5 in points right now, featuring Christopher Hamilton there as well. So great performance by a lot of our top guys in the Core Racing League.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that. Wow.
So again, we knew it was only a matter of time before Carl Handwerk would go to victory lane. We knew it would be a matter of time before he'd break through, but he did a great job kind of shaking that off, but not just focus on Carl. There were so many good storylines that have come out of this race. You have a call to Jonathan Platt. I mean, that race that he had at Myrtle Beach, a great performance by him, overcoming adversity, working his way toward the front. It seemed like that energized him. He didn't feel very confident coming here. Felt like he wasn't as strong as he wanted to be here. Comes up second at this track after starting 15th. Eric Andrews, another great driver, won at Kansas a couple weeks ago. Follows it up with a third place finish here. Christopher Hamilton, solid run for him, P4, and your points leader, Nick Nickerson, also able to get a solid P5 finish.
And there we go, collecting the field. Looks like everyone wants in the action.
Pass inspection now. That's not good.
It looks like Kevin Foster's still going out there. He's like, guys, we still got one more lap. I don't know why we're stopping.
Like he knows something we don't.
It's Kevin Foster. He keeps it close to the belt.
What a great race. I mean, again,
oh my gosh, they're still having fun.
When you come into a race like this with these two cars, you kind of compare and contrast the Xfinity car to the Cup car. You really see the differences here. That Cup car is very aero sensitive. It really likes being in traffic, likes being in a group of cars, and it kind of helps to mix it up when they're on new tires. But here with these Xfinity cars, the way they drive, they're almost like, I call them bricks, where they're just like, they are aerodynamic, but they do have a tendency to, once a car can break away from a group and that driver knows the track, they can just drive away and be able to pull away like we saw Carl Handwerk do and really control the pace of the race.
Yeah, which honestly is amazing. Being able to run away from a draft is really cool. That's wow, some insane driving.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see nothing less than exciting racing because we got some great races coming up as everyone gets settled in here. Probably getting ready for interviews here shortly, but kind of a preview of what's ahead here in the Core Racing League next week, going into the street stocks and heading to legendary Irwindale Speedway. That's going to be the timing is everything 88 at the figure eight configuration of that track. So that already sounds like it's going to be insane in itself. So looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
April 12th. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say, I'm going to have to crack open a beer and enjoy that one because that's definitely going to be a bloodbath.
I don't know how you call a race like that, but we're going to have to figure out a way because that's going to be an interesting one to say the least. Another one that's going to be kind of a different take on the use of SK Modifieds. Going to be taking those over to Okayama International Circuit on April 12th. That's going to be the CoreRacingLeague.com 50. And then in 3 weeks, the Mazda MX-5s take part in the mid-season classic presented by Mission Car Care. That'll be at the legendary Darlington Raceway up non-points race. So the guys will be able to let their hair down and have some fun.
Yeah, and honestly, going into taking those modifieds to Okayama, I talked with Carl a while ago about that. I was testing it out at Laguna Seca. And I actually really enjoyed driving them. I think you needed a little bit of a wider track, but they drove road courses extremely well. The only downside to those SK Modifieds is that giant air filter on the top that literally blocks off your points, so you don't even drive from memory. It's almost you're counting down. You finish a corner and you're like 1, 2, 3, turn right. And you're timing yourself now. You can't use as many visual cues. It's a lot of timing. So your right-handed turns are the scariest thing in the world, but your left-hand turns on point every single time.
Absolutely. And I did some laps around there as well. Just kind of wanted to feel that out. And as a road course racer, I love driving unique cars on unique circuits. And that is really different. I kind of got taken aback by the size of the air filter there, but
it's so big.
You kind of adapt and kind of you find the opening there in the whole little in the screen there, and you kind of find where you can see the actual rumble strips there, and you kind of use that. But if you miss your mark there, oh man,
but it sticks to the track so well. It's going to allow for a lot of great crossovers and door-to-door action with that.
Absolutely. So it's going to be some 3 great weeks of racing here in the Core Racing League. Very excited to see that go down.
Oh yeah, and so let's bring in our third place winner, Eric Andrews. Eric, this is Booth. You copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey man, give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn up your mic. Michael, you want to ask him a question?
Yeah, Eric, I mean, you've been having a great run so far this season. Seems like after your win at Kansas, things really kind of got going for you. So another third place finish here. Seems like momentum is on your side right now. How's everything going for you this season?
It's going a lot better. A lot of momentum. Has been to a lot of tracks, cars or vehicles that I like, and said I sponsor this race with Vision, and I really like this track and how exactly like what it was today. Long green flag runs. You got to drive the cars. A lot of different lines you can run, and makes it a lot of fun.
So, kind of talk about, I guess, the differences that you maybe experienced as a driver from the Cup cars, which we saw here on Death by Moose Media earlier, as compared to the Xfinity cars, because obviously they drive a little different, they behave a little differently in all aspects of this track. What do you kind of feel is different about these Xfinity cars compared to Cup?
There's just a little less power. But you gotta still gotta drive it a little more than you would the trucks. But as far as the Cup cars, got a lot more power. And you really gotta you don't have to brake as much with Xfinity car going into the turns.
So yeah, I mean, again, you're having a great run this season. You're kind of closing up on the leaders. So are there any races coming up that you're really looking forward to? I mean, we were talking about the figure eight over at Irwindale is gonna be crazy, but we got Okayama and we also got Darlington. That's a non-points race. So are there any races coming up that you're excited for?
Um, Actually, I just enjoy being here with all of them. As like I said, the figure eight next week's going to be that's going to be very interesting.
Yes.
The modifieds are ran good last year in the modified, so
Hmm.
looking forward to that. And there's going to be a lot of interesting things like the Talladega with the Can-Am cars. They usually run good on the restrictor plates. Barring I
Hmm.
can stay out of trouble. So we got some good tracks for me coming up, and I'll try and hang on close I can catch those leaders.
Absolutely. You good over there, Randall?
Yeah.
Are you set up and ready to go?
Yep.
Okay.
Just a quick question, Eric. Before we let you go, do you want to talk about your sponsorship in the company that you used to sponsor it?
Yeah, with Vision, what it is a network marketing company, and we deal with services, and it's just something you can kind of work in your spare time. It's just a lot of especially the way things are right now with residual income. So you do something one time and get paid over and over again. And it's been something we've been in for a while, and I know you said you were going to put up the link there, AE Andrew, um, um, at acndirect.com, and take a look at it. If you have any questions, they can hit me up.
Yeah, I went ahead and posted that in the chat. I'll have it updated to the description page, but just wanted to give everyone a little bit of information because you're the person to talk to if they want to check it out.
Yep, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate everything you guys did up the booth. Bet you it's a fun race to watch today, and just thank everybody. And you've got you guys at Death by Booth, of course, Core, and Josh with his paint schemes and everything, and it was a fun race today.
Yeah, no, it was a blast. You guys really kept it super clean, and honestly, it was it's good to see you guys out there, kind of stretching your legs, and having to use a little bit of a strategy and nailing it down. And I think you put a tricky one out in the track for everyone with a couple of inverts, but it definitely paid out for a couple of the guys out there.
Yeah, I like to kind of do that. Throw things off a little bit, like make them get it in one lap, and just keeps people on their toes and try to knock down that lap right away. And also want to thank us. I forgot Southern Heart Creations also for what they did. They came on with the giveaways today, and so I wanted to, when they said that, I said I'd be more than happy to throw them in, with the sponsorship too for today's race, and just thank what they do with giving us the prizes and all that. It's awesome. So everybody needs to go out and check out Southern Heart Creations on Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook, and also you can do it on Instagram too. You can find them at, I believe it's the @ Southern Heart Creations, and that is where they'll be on Instagram. So definitely check them out and check out what she does. Leanne does a good job with all the custom products that she makes.
Yes, she does, and we thank her for sponsoring us.
All right, man. Thank you for popping in. A great run tonight. Once again, dude, that was you had a rough start, but then Inversion came and kicked you back up there, and you held it strong. You were fighting for every little bit of ground, and I think you did a great job out there, man.
Thank you, and congratulations to Carl and Platt for his second place finish too. Those guys had a great run, and I think their momentum's going to start to carry over too. So
definitely agree. All right, man. Do you want to stay in the booth while we bring up Jonathan Platt, or do you want me to move you to general?
Either or's fine.
I'll keep you in the booth. John likes a party. All right, we have Jonathan Platt in the booth telling me that he was not planning on finishing top 10 anywhere on this lineup. You want to explain yourself, Jonathan Platt?
Yeah, I figured I'd finish 7th to 13th, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I feel like you lied to me.
No, I really do not like this car, and I don't like this racetrack. I really couldn't figure it out, and Eric can attest to that. Last night in practice, he was trying to help me out some, and I really couldn't get it. And in practice today, I kind of learned a little bit more and knew that tire would be huge. So with me having to have an EOL, I figured just save tires as much as I could through that first run, and we drove to 5th, and I can't believe we came home 2nd. It's a win to me. So.
Yeah, I want to ask you, it looked like you found some speed out there. What exactly did you see, and what did you queue up on? Because I saw you eating up the field, right before the comp caution coming out.
I was just saving tire. I had a better right front tire than most of the guys out there, and that it means so much here because the more you burn off the right front, the more tight it gets, the more you got to be off throttle. So we ran.
Oh, just dropped out right there. You still with us? Yeah. Okay. I think you dropped off because I can barely hear you. Michael, can you hear him?
I can barely hear you, John. Excuse me.
It's my microphone. My dog ate it.
That happens.
Well, great run, man. Is there anyone you'd like to thank for the race? Any shout-outs you got to make?
Yeah. First and foremost, I want to shout out my biggest hater in chat, Barry Kistler. I didn't wreck Carl today, so you ain't got to talk shit. I also want to shout out Alex Strout for watching this race. I need to shout out Death by Moose Media. I need to shout out Core. Need to shout out Southern Heart Creations, Joka Graphics, Elkhart Racing Supply, and hell, what was I going to say again? Good win, Carl. I'll think of something. I don't know, man.
All right.
Well, if I can,
Go ahead,
I
Michael.
can ask you a couple of quick questions here. So, it seems like since this season, you've kind of started off and really gotten some momentum going on your side. You won last week at Myrtle Beach, and with that strong finish today, it's likely you may jump into the points lead because you jumped up a few spots last week, and now you were only 1 point behind coming in. You finished a few spots ahead of Nick after this. So, how's it feel to kind of be on a tear right now here in the Core Racing League?
Feels pretty good. I don't think I'm a points leader. I think Carl pretty well raked in all the bonus points today, and he should be points leader. So it feels good. Like most people know, I really didn't take the first half of last season too seriously, and took the last half pretty serious. And I went ahead and upgraded everything I own, and told him I'm going to make a run at the championship. So it feels good.
Nice. You look impressive out there. I mean, I'll ask you the same question I asked Eric. Is there any races you're looking forward to coming up that you feel really play to your strong suits as a racer?
Any of the super speedway races, they are, kind of a crapshoot, but I feel like that's my strong suit. Also, that dirt race, that truck race, I really feel like that can be a pretty good one. I'm really good on dirt and really good with the truck on dirt. I know I'm going to have to watch for the likes of Nickerson, Willie, Carl, but I beat him in Bandit, so why can't I beat him here?
You can do it again.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking, and congratulations on another top 5 here. That is your 4th top 5 this season, so great run so far.
Yep, if we can keep them off road courses in this league, I'd probably rack up a bunch of top 5.
We'll have to see you next season then.
Yeah.
Throwing out more road courses. All right, man. Thanks for coming out and putting out a good number. Let's go ahead and pull in Carl Handwerk. Hey, Carl, this is Booth. You copy?
Sure.
So I noticed your car was a little faster than everyone else's out there. I just would like to wonder why you're running a different setup.
Well, is this on the record or off the record?
This is obviously off the record, even though we have everyone in chat with us. Just off the record.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. No, honestly, it was a little bit of actually helping some other guys out. Like I ran more practice this week than I normally do, and it was really, just helping Josh out and helping Paul Butler out and helping. I think it helped Andrews out a little bit. And that extra practice for me probably paid off in the end. Obviously running the ISRC before this helped a little bit, but I mean the cars really handled a lot differently. These cars really had to back up the turns. You really had to save tires. In ISRC, you could almost hold them flat out the whole way. So this, I was saying to Platt before we got in here, this was a tire saving race. And if you didn't save tires, that's really the only reason I drove from the back to the front. And Platt said it's the same thing with him. You had to save tires and you had to drive real smooth and basically just wait till everybody else burned theirs off.
Yeah, that is definitely a level of skill that I've yet to achieve. I know I got to throw a couple laps with you guys, and from what I was experiencing on the track and kind of what I saw you guys doing, yeah, I could definitely see that being a tire saving race. With the car being a little tight coming out of those corners, do you think that if you had someone maybe challenging you up in the front, that would have definitely worn you out a little bit more and probably brought the pack a little closer?
Well, I think towards the end of that green flag run, Platt was definitely catching me, and it was because, even though I saved tires, he saved them just a little bit more than I did. So even though I got out to that, roughly 2-second gap, he was able to reel me back in. And I think by the time he went into the pits, it was just under a second. So, even though I was saving and I was pulling away for a little bit, you can still save more. And that's exactly what showed. So it's really, it's on the guys, the rest of the guys in here to kind of feel it out. It's really tough. And I don't have it mastered yet myself, how to save tires. It's still something that I'm really trying to work on, and it's to me, it's one of the toughest things to do in iRacing. But it's one of the things that if you can do it well on long green flag runs, it's going to pay off.
Yeah, and no, we're not giving out pointers.
I was about to make another joke about savings, where you could also find savings at geico.com.
Not an official sponsor, unless they want to be. Wink, wink.
Yeah, I'll definitely tap into those savings. Michael, you want to take it away?
Yeah, just a quick question. So you put on a really strong performance out there, and again, I feel like I should get a T-shirt that say "bonus points matter." You got more of those points, and did a solid job out there. So talk about why those points can be so important in terms of, I guess, when the playoffs come around here very soon.
Well, I mean, it's the one thing with the we're actually not even having playoffs this year. It's all going to be straight points, and that's why every point is going to matter, because throughout the entire season, every point is going to rack it up, and that's why obviously we knew about the potential invert. It could have been 0, but it could have been as much as 4, and it was 3 for the EOLs to start the race. But I knew that if I pushed and got that pole, I'd at least get the bonus point, even though I may end up going to the back. And I knew that I needed to save tires, but also needed to get to the front to make sure I'd led some laps, got those 10 bonus points at the half, and tried to lead the most laps. So it's always on my mind, not just to to lead the race, but to lead it because of the bonus points. And it adds up, and that's that may be the only reason I'm beating Platt right now in the point standings, is because of those bonus points. If not, he would be leading the points.
Yeah, and finally, I guess as a league owner, we know this is all put on by you with a great group of people. Talk about the competition you're seeing here, because it's a very close battle at the top of points right now. So it's got to be exciting to see that everyone is being competitive right now here, at least in the early goings of the season.
Well, it is, and that's kind of what we try and pride ourselves on, and that's why we have such an eclectic schedule, is because it seems like everybody is good at something else. There's only maybe a few of us in here that are pretty decent and well-rounded, that they can jump on a road course and jump on an oval and jump on dirt and be competitive across the board. But not only are you going to have to compete against those guys that are good across the board, you're also going to have to compete against the guys that are strictly good at road or strictly good at dirt, and we kind of have them all in here. I mean, you see, this is our 5th race and 5th different winner. I mean, it's not a coincidence. I mean, there's everybody in here can win just about every week, and it's great. And I think the biggest thing that I take away from this race is it was so great to have a long caution-free race, and to be able to play out the strategies, to be able to have the green flag stops. And I mean, looking back at it, 8 guys had a clean race, that they didn't have a single incident. That's phenomenal. And I think only 1 guy in the entire field, not going to name names, had double digits in regards to to incident points, and that's awesome. I mean, that's your bonus points right there. You're talking about bonus points. I mean, clean race gives you 3 bonus points. That's as much as a win. And it should be rewarded like that, because if you're driving clean, you should be getting rewarded. And a lot of guys are getting those 3 bonus points because of it.
You should bring said guy up here.
Well,
no, we're not going to name names.
I will mention that guy was riding along with me the entire race. And if you had any in cars of me, you would have noticed who that was. But no, I will bring them up because I want to talk about my paint real quick. Another awesome paint job by Joka Graphics and Josh Billiter. He was the one that was my co-pilot today, and he threw his picture on my dashboard, so I got to ride along looking at him the whole time. So maybe that's why I was driving so fast to try and get the race over with quickly.
Like a memento for a pilot, he wanted to make sure you knew who your true love was and who to remember when you're in tough times.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is Josh got his first laps led of his core career tonight, so that was awesome. And now he can kind of say he got his first win. He was at least in a winning car. So, so congrats to him as well. No, but I mean, the main reason. Yeah, the rats may go out there later, but that's beside the point. No, but I mean, the reason I want to bring up the paint is once again I want to mention Austin Armstrong. That's why me and a couple of the guys had some of the hashtag Austin Strong on here because once again, like I mentioned last week, he's battling with cancer again, and it's even though there's obviously we got all kinds of viruses going on right now in the States and around the world, but cancer is still at the forefront, and any way that anybody can help out would be awesome. We're actually going to be doing a little bit of a partnership with Stand Up to Cancer for the next endurance race that we're doing. So we're going to be having a special paint scheme for that. We're going to be doing that for the 24 hours of Nürburgring, and we'll have some links up there to where you can donate, and even Core is going to put some money up for Stand Up to Cancer as well.
Yeah, we're all going to pitch in and donate to that. That's something we're going to be doing for all of our special events. Actually, we're going to be going around, and each race we're going to be picking a something that someone wants to sponsor. So we're doing Stand Up for Cancer for the 24-hour. The next race is going to be another pick from the group, and pretty much we're going to go around the house and do what we can to help support. And because we all have different things out there that we want to help support, and friends and family that are suffering in certain ways, and that's one way we can reach out and help each other, because we are a family and racing together, and this is a group that we put together that's all about being kind of a team, even off the track.
Suicide prevention.
Exactly.
Yeah, and exactly, and we have the suicide prevention that we're kind of trying to partner with and do that too. We also have later, even in the core racing series, we have the Eldora race that you guys were talking about. That one's going to be presented by Autism Awareness. So we kind of want to get their name out there. Then I think it's the race right after that, the one with the Indy cars at Texas. That one's going to be with Wounded Warriors. So we recognize that we have the ability to do this right now. We have the ability to go online, have fun, chat it up with guys like this and put out this broadcast. And there's a lot of people that are less fortunate than us, and those are the guys that we really need to look out for.
Yeah. Once again, thank you guys for being in here, for putting on a great race. Eric Andrews, couldn't have asked for anything better for this track. Way to go.
Thank you.
I'm excited for next weekend. We had a great doubleheader today. Very action-packed. Didn't give me enough time to pop back and forth, but that's okay. It happens. I'll adapt and overcome. But big thank you to Michael Campbell for assisting me on both races. I know it was last minute for the first one. Once again, thank you for that. And to both Carl and Platt, great job tonight. That was and Eric, great job. That was a hell of a run.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on the limb and say next week is not going to be caution-free, with it being the figure 8 track. That one's going to be a little more dicey.
We might have to make that adults only, and that one's going to be beers.
And that may be a 3-hour broadcast. Yeah,
and
all the above.
Yeah. So whoever gets wrecked out gets to pop in the booth. We get to have some fun. It might be 18 or older. I'm sorry for anyone that has kids, but that's most likely going to be a fun one.
Getting wrecked.
So Paul will not be able to race that race. So yeah.
But did he even race this race?
No.
Sorry, Paul. No, but yeah, it was a good time tonight. A lot of fun. Like I said, that figure 8's going to be something else next week.
Oh yeah, it is.
Thanks to both of you. You guys do an amazing job. Also, remember I said I forgot one person?
Yep.
It was Austin. It was awesome. So shout out to Austin out there, man.
Yeah, and one last shout out to the guys in core. I mean, they had a fucking great race. I mean, I apologize for the language, but this is the way that Core was built on, and this is the way that I really want us to go forward, because this is awesome. This is the kind of racing that we want to put out there and show that we can do.
You're just happy because we don't have to review all the incidents tomorrow morning.
That helps too. That really helps.
And we're gonna have a short meeting tonight, so I'm definitely happy for that too.
Exactly.
All right, let's go ahead and close with the broadcast. I'm gonna move you guys to general. Once again, thank you for everything, and I'll see you guys in a few.
All right.
Thanks, boys.
All right, Michael. Wow, what a run tonight. Any last words?
I mean, that was an exciting race. That's exactly what you want to see on a track like that. And again, like you said, seeing the strategy play out is always fun. I mean, it brings a new element into the race, and seeing it all play out, and Carl Handwerk getting his first win, great storyline there. So it's going to be interesting seeing how everything shakes out once we go to a very unique course over there in California at Randall.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. That figure eight. Whew. I'm gonna have to run some test laps on that. Get back. That's getting to my bread and butter right there. I got started at the Wreckfest, so
Nice.
figure eights and demo derbies. That's what I'm all about.
Well, I think that's we're in store for something very interesting and very unique. This coming Sunday.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have a lot of commercials, and it's gonna be a lot of action. So please, everyone, stick tight. Enjoy the entertainment. Once again, thank you for doing the doubleheader with me. I know it's a rough call, but it's always a lot of fun to have you in the booth, and you're a wealth of knowledge that I can't say enough about. I appreciate you being in here, man.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for letting me be here.
You got it. All right. Once again, thank you to everyone for popping in tonight. That is going to end the doubleheader tonight. So if you want to once again check out both Heart Creations, you can also, if you want to get a chance to win one of the core logos for your events, make sure to either comment on the Facebook post at the Core Racing League Facebook, and that's going to be, you're going to comment SHC or shoot Carl at coreracingleague.com an email saying SHC, and that is going to enter you to win one of the vent clips that are being given out tonight. And then we also have to, oh man, I just forgot. My brain just emptied out. The vent clips, and then don't forget to tune in on Wednesday nights. We're going to have the iRacing short course round 2 kickoff, and hopefully we'll get as big of a bang we did the first round. So this is going to be interesting, and we'll see how these kids handle it. They're changing up the format since we had so many entries. We're going to actually have to expand the format a little bit. We're going to actually have an A main and a B main. So 40 racers, 2 races, all competing for points. It's going to be a lot of fun. And until then, I'll see you guys later, and I hope everyone has a great week, and this is a good way to end the weekend.